Hi everyone, so I'm back with another training video. So this is from my past week of training, just December week 4. So I'm starting out here by showing you some of my deadlifts from this past Monday. So this footage starts from Monday, I can't remember the date that I started this week, December 21st. So this was December 21st. And here I'm just kind of showing you guys some of my warm-up sets. So I get a lot of questions about what I do to warm up and kind of some cues that I think of when I deadlift. So I thought I would go through some tips while I show these videos. So the first video that you saw, I worked up to 255 for a double. And then the last video was 285 for a single. This is 315 for a single. So when I deadlift anything over 315, I typically, my warm-up, so I was deadlifting 325 pounds for sets of 4. So 3 sets of 4 with an AMRAP on the 4th set. So these felt really good, really good. So typically what my warm-up set is I start out with 135 for 5. Then I go up to 185 for 5. Then 225 for 3. Then 255 for 2. 285 for a single. And then depending what I'm working up to, then it really changes. So for this, I went 285 for a single, then 315 for a single. So really the purpose of warming up is not to physically exhaust you and do sets before your actual working sets. It's just meant to be a way to really focus on your form. I do the exact same form that I would do for 325 as I'm doing here in my warm-up sets. So I make sure that my form's on point, that I am really focusing on driving through my hips, big breath, packing my lats. Beautiful deadlift face there, lovely. But doing the same, thinking of the same cues in my warm-up as I do in my actual sets. So this was my 3rd set of 325 for 4 reps. And so for deadlifts, a few things that I think of, people ask me frequently, what are some tips, for deadlifts? And I try to give those tips on Instagram with my videos as I post them. But some things that I think of, so I pull sumo. So I do not have a super wide sumo stance. Mine's a little bit more, well, I said this last time, not super wide, not super narrow, so I'm being very vague. Oh, so this is my AMRAP. So this is 325, and this was on my 4th set, so as many reps as possible with good form, typically going to an RPE of about 9. And so, which means I have about 1 rep left in the tank. I just want to make sure that each rep looks clean, looks smooth, and is not in any way, I'm not possibly injuring myself essentially by going to complete failure. I never go to absolute complete failure. So a couple things that I think of: big breath. As you can see, I take my breath before I grab the bar, and I have found that I'm able to take a bigger breath. And I have the bar as close to my shins as possible. I externally rotate my hands to tighten my lats. And De Novo Nutrition actually has a really good video on that with Jake in their video. They talk about externally rotating your hands to tighten up your lats. So here I did some accessory work. This is actually, yeah, it's the same day. I just changed shorts. I was trying to think of why are my shorts different? So these are assisted pull-ups. I believe I did 5 sets of 8 here on knees. These are good if you need a little bit of help with pull-ups, because I could not do 5 sets of 8 unassisted. So I have to use a little bit of assistance, and that green band just gave me a little bit. So my training is both powerlifting and figure focused. So for that reason, I have to add in accessory work, and I like to spread out my accessory work over 6 days. I do not like to have it all in one day, or break it up over even 3 days. So I break up my accessory work actually over 6 days. So I train 6 days a week. That showed a set of 10 with 115, so that's my leg day. And so here's another example of some accessory work. These are pullovers. I did 3 sets of 15 here with 35 pounds, and as you can see, working my lats. So these are a really good one for isolating the lats. So just kind of giving you guys an idea of some accessory work that I do, that I like to do. It's very back focused, because that's something that I need to bring up for figure. Particularly for figure. It's always been an area that I struggle to grow. And you can never have a big enough back for figure. So these are just some barbell curls with 40 pounds. I believe I did 5 sets of 4 on there, and these are some straight arm pull downs. I really like these for back. So I believe I did 4 sets of 12 here. Really focusing on engaging my lats and using my lats to pull down, and not using just my arms and not engaging my back on these. So as you can see, my lats, I'm really trying to focus on my lats and engage my lats on those. So my program is a lot of accessory work, but also a lot of the main lifts. So currently I am squatting 4 times a week, benching 4 times a week, and deadlifting twice a week. So this was my my first squat day, and this was 280 pounds for 3 sets of 6. So I believe this was either my first or second set that I'm showing here. So on squat, the same thing with deadlift. I think big breath, brace my core, tighten my lats. Even with squat, you're supporting the bar. So you really need to make sure that your back is firm and a good shelf for the bar. And I do a low bar stance with my squats, so it's pretty low on my back. I get a lot more power with this position, and actually the majority of people will find that a low bar position is better and gives you more power, but you just have to figure out your leverages, what works best for you. So this was a side view, just kind of checking my bar path, and very straight bar path. I even had this confirmed, so that it looked pretty good. So this was my last set. This was my 3rd set of 6 with 280 pounds. These felt super fast, super smooth. My squats have been on fire lately, like just feeling amazing. So very encouraged here with these. I'm wearing the strong knee sleeves and an Inzer 13mm belt here. So then this was following squats, bench 135 pounds for sets of 6, I believe, and these felt really good too. So on bench, I do arch because that's what I do in my powerlifting meets. It reduces the range of motion a little bit, which is good in terms of being stronger, and also good for my shoulders. So I've dealt with a shoulder injury in the past. I actually injured it doing CrossFit, believe it or not, back in my 2-month CrossFit stint. But it has been healing, and I do tons of mobility work, so that's a future video that I can probably add in my updated mobility routine, because it's very extensive to stay injury free. So here's some pull downs that I did following this. So more back work, lots of back work. So I believe I did 5 sets of 8 on pull downs or 5 sets of 6 with 110 pounds. And then these are 1-arm dumbbell rows. I'm not sure how much I'm using there, but I believe I did 4 sets of 12 maybe. And then these are some curls as well. So I do add in bicep and tricep accessory work in my training. And then the wraps I have on my arms, it was just a little bit of elbow pain, so I have some KT tape there. But actually this was really fun. This day my brother came, he was home, and he came and trained with me, so that was so much fun. Alright, so then this is my second deadlift day, and this was 305 pounds for sets of 6. And as you can see on this set, I actually did not do full resets. Excuse me. I did not do full resets on these, which after this set I was like, okay, I'm full resetting. I just decided to see how it felt, and I like the full resets a lot because it helps me get in a better position. I'm making sure that each rep is as similar to the last as possible. So these 6 felt really good. I was actually in a little bit of a hurry this day because this was Christmas Eve and the gym closed at 3, and I got to the gym with just enough time for my workout. So I was in a little bit of a hurry, so I was kind of rushing, but they still felt good. So 3 sets of 6 here with 305 pounds. And so we shall see what I do next week. So this day, Christmas Eve, was hammy and glute day. So I followed my deadlifts with stiff-legged deadlifts, and then moved into the glute ham raise where I did 5 sets of 8, and then I did some calf work and then some BFR hip thrusts. So BFR is one of my favorite things to add in. I used knee wraps around the top of my quad, and I do 1 set of 30 and then followed by 3 sets of 15 with 30 seconds rest in between. If you've never heard of BFR, I would Google blood flow restriction / Jeremy Leneke. He has done a ton of research on this and very knowledgeable, lots of science behind it. Love BFR for the pump, for the hypertrophy benefits without having to use a huge percentage of your weight or of your 1 rep max. You only need about 20 to 30%. All right, this was Christmas squats, 300 pounds for 3 sets of 4 followed by an AMRAP. I was like super excited about these. This was late at night. We actually didn't get to the gym. My dad came with me. So we had family stuff all day. So we didn't get to the gym until 9 p.m., I believe. I made my dad promise. I said, you come to the gym. That's part of my Christmas gift. So as you can see, I'm wearing my A7 shirt, which is a company that makes grip shirts. So I don't need to chalk my back, which is really nice. So thank you, A7, for sending me shirts. So as you can see, these are flying. I mean, RPE of like 6. It was amazing. This is the fastest that 300 has ever felt. So here's me doing a little dance. Getting pumped up before my AMRAP. So this was my AMRAP with 300 pounds. So my goal was to get 9. I was really just pumped up, thinking I'm going to do well, especially how fast those 4 reps were moving. And this was late at night. We had family over all day, so I was surprised that I felt this amazing on squats, especially the day after deadlifts, the day after 305 deadlifts. So on this AMRAP, I got a new PR. Woo! I got 10 reps here with 300 pounds. So last week I hit 290 for 12, and this week I hit 300 for 10, which I was very happy about. My AMRAPs tend to be very, very strong. I mean, if you do the 1 rep calculator for what my 1 rep max should be, it's like over 400, which is not what my 1 rep max is. I've hit 347 before. So I'm hoping that this means that my 1 rep max is getting stronger. So this is the heaviest I've squatted since nationals, actually, since October. So you can see my face. I don't know if any of you guys caught that, my face at the end. I looked at my dad and I said, did I really just hit 10 reps? And the last rep was actually, I stopped pretty conservatively because my hamstring has been just a little bit tweaked. So I stopped a little bit early just to make sure that I was protecting my hamstring. So I probably could have gotten 11 at least. So this was 145 for 3 sets of 4. Following squats on Christmas. It was so fun. It was fun to be there with my dad. So I believe this was either my second or my third set. My hips did pop just a tiny bit on some of these. I honestly was so excited for my squat AMRAP that I had a little bit of a hard time containing myself on these. So yeah, this was my AMRAP. So I ended up getting 8 on my 145. My hips did pop on the last rep, which I was a little disappointed about. Oop, there goes the camera. So I knocked over the camera. But overall, new PR, 145 for 8. So this was today, Saturday. 220 pounds for 3 sets of 10. I don't know what 10 reps is. It's like literally cardio. I was dying today. So this is my 4th squat day. So the day after my heavy day, doing my lightest day, and then I also had, as I'm going to show in this next video, 3 sets of 10 with 120 on bench. So overall, feeling really good about my training. This week went amazing. One of the best training weeks that I can remember. Gearing up for the Arnold here in March, which is in my hometown. So I'm super excited about that. I'm going to be competing in the 72 kilogram class, and I'm actually traveling to New York this next week to see my friend Rory. So we're going to be doing a seminar out there. So as always, you can follow me on Instagram, KatieAnn100, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks.